Yes, we are live. I'm Victoria, teacher Victoria, with Lead from Home, and I have the great, enormous, fantastic pleasure to talk with Monica. Monica is going to share with us, or we're going to have an open discussion. That's really what we're going to have, is an open conversation. So if you're joining us live or if you're watching us on the replay, don't forget to hit subscribe so you hear some interesting and fun things along the way that might help you build your audience as a teacher, an online teacher, anything. We've got it here. If you want something, let us know so that we can get that for you. Our conversation today is all about positive thinking during COVID or social distancing. And we have the great privilege. I've been seeing Monica's growth for the past year during this time, and it has been phenomenal. So I asked her to speak with us just about her point of view, maybe from the beginning to where she is now, and just to talk to us about it. She recently graduated. You want to tell us a little bit about
Mhm.
your background and why I'm so excited to have you on our show?
Yes, well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's just a great honor and pleasure to be here with you. So yes, I am a recent um, graduated in 2018 with my master's in Catholic school leadership, which was a big journey in itself because I was working full
Full
time and going
time.
to school full time, and it, and being married at the time. I mean, we're still married, but still, like balancing life during that time was a juggling act, and I survived, thank the Lord. Um, and it's so excited to just share what I've learned in myself and learned through this whole process of growing internally and growing
Mhm.
um, spiritually, and more importantly, changing my life habits to make myself both healthy physically, mentally, emotionally. So it's been a great challenge, but I always say God has a purpose for everything, and He places people in your path to help you grow and help you encourage others. So I feel like my purpose is to share that, to be an encourager, and to be a positive thinker for not only my students but for other adults as well.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that. There was something in the kind of like a message that you received that, if I can say that. I mean, I sometimes we're motivated. We have these internal motivators that tell us that it's time to share our story, to speak our truth,
Mm-hmm.
and it's that is what I referenced when we began our interview or our discussion. Is there was something I was so happy that you did this because sharing your story, and I talk about your growth, making these decisions, critical decisions, and changes happening. They're happening to everybody. They're so real. It's people are connecting to that, and I want to share with you. One of our dear friends that knows Monica asked me to share. You know that she is so happy for you. She loves you dearly, and she asked me to share. She says, Moniz, my regards, and that you are truly beautiful. This is from Vanessa Moreno. We had her as a guest recently, celebrating her co founding and this new project that she has, the Heritage Team Extraordinaire. And she says that just like me, we were just talking about this, how we feel like it's a gift that you sharing your story, and I don't think that when we share parts of our journey, and I say this universally or broad, that we don't realize the connection or the impact we're making on others. What motivated you to share certain things? Maybe.
Well, when I first started, well, I'll start from the beginning to make it just so people know they can connect the dots. So, 2 years ago, my brother passed away from complications from diabetes. And at that time, I was going to school. I was working full time as a teacher and vice principal. And I was not in the best place, both physically and mentally. I found myself in an environment that was not the healthiest, in relationships that were not the healthiest. And it took me um, being honest with myself, to put it bluntly, is I was at work in the summer and I was sitting at my desk. I was going through my playlist, and I was like, I need to, update my playlist. And my sister had a friend of hers, um, which we had common interest in music, and I reached out to him like, hey, I'm wanting to include some new songs in my music. I want to start doing something different. And he's the one that really got me motivated to, like, to wake up, really.
Mm-hmm.
And so his name is Robert Lopez, Bobby Lopez, and he has his company, Acme Road Nutrition and Training. So he is the one that actually um, got me started. And he's like, hey Mo, like, I lost all this weight, and I did it with no, like, minimal gym equipment, and I started doing eating healthy. And so he got me started, and it took me being honest with myself, like, I need to. And I know it. I'm not the only one that does it, but I was talking to myself like, hey, Monica, like, you really need to get it together. Life is too short, and I experienced the loss, and it's not just the loss of my brother, but the loss of relationships, knowing that I had to move from my working environment. It took that honesty, being vulnerable, and saying, I deserve better.
Mm-hmm.
I deserve better, and I need to do better for myself, because I couldn't depend on other people to make me happy. I had to make myself happy. And so, with his help, with his guidance, he taught me things, how to break habits. Um, he encouraged me to push myself, and he called me on it. And that's one thing I think everybody needs to have, is a person that holds you accountable, because you can't do it by yourself. You have to surround yourself with people who are going to be honest with you, be truthful, even though you don't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear
Right.
some of the things he told me, but um he was right. Like, he was like, Mo, like, you deserve better, you are worth it, you invest in yourself. Those things, when you know better, you do better. These are all his quotes, so I give him credit for that. um
What is his name again? And he's at Acme Road. Is it Food and
Robert
Nutrition?
Lopez, Bobby Lopez at his business name is Acme Road Nutrition and Training. So he helps others, encourages others. He does the nutrition and training part, and it's well, with all this COVID thing that started, so we started meeting virtually, and training virtually. Um, but his encouragement, his holding me accountable, and he was very blunt with me. So I needed that, and I didn't know I needed it until um, I told, like, I was really like, what are you doing to yourself, Monica? Like, you
Right.
have all this life, you have all these gifts that are given to you, and don't let it go to waste. Um, and so when you do that, when you are honest with yourself, not only does it help you become a better person, it translates to your work environment. My kids saw a difference in me. Um, People around me were like, Monica, you can tell you're becoming a different person. Because before I was, I let people take advantage of my kindness. And
And you
it
are a kind person by nature.
and I still
Yeah.
try to be, I mean, I still want to be that person, but
You
to
are. You're all heart.
I but
I have
now
to put that in
I
there.
know I have to create boundaries. I had to create
Yes.
boundaries for work. I had to create boundaries for my relationships and
Right.
just overall. Like I need to make sure I take care of myself so that I can give to others. Because if I come empty, I can't give fully um, what I want to give to others. And that's just being encouraging. That's just being, I want to be the light in someone's life. And I want to do that to the best of my ability. And the only way I can do that is to make sure that I'm full in all
Yes.
aspects and healthy in all aspects. So I got on the grind and I got it. Of course, I had my days where I was like, not so good days.
Yes.
I ate what I wasn't supposed to eat. I didn't give 100% in my workout or things like that. But the good thing about tomorrow is that you can make it better.
Yes.
Make it better tomorrow.
Monica, how many times when you started, or maybe still, I remember when I started a new program, I call it a program, but it's not a program. It is basically a lifestyle change. And I remember a period of time when I was actually really good about going to do certain things. I had a set routine, and I
Mhm.
remember, and I'll speak specifically to um, a workout. It was I was doing CrossFit at the time, and I remember there were several times where I just wanted to weep, that some of those workouts and some of those engagements or encounters were so cathartic. Certain When we work so hard, I think that's why graduation is so overwhelming or so emotional, and a lot of people keep that poise, and they're really they're straight face, and I praise everybody that does that. But that's not me. I know that I had tears streaming down, and in the
Mhm.
inside my heart
Mhm.
was beating
Mhm.
so fast. And I know that when we make changes, because it's so hard, and it's almost like when you have that release, whatever it is, if it's like, man, I can't believe I did that, there's a mindset change that happens. And when everything aligns, it's kind of like our body is celebrating, our mind is celebrating, our heart is celebrating. It's like a little song we're making. And I
Yes.
really love that you said, when we are empty, we cannot give to others, not fully.
Mhm.
There's this book, and I know that that's kind of part of this was, um, have you read the book, by the way, or seen the book, How Full Is Your Bucket?
I've seen the book, yes. It's on my study book list amongst
Yes,
many, but
I
absolutely.
right.
When you as, and when you said when you work out and there's that moment, I
Yes,
there's there's always that one workout where you put the 110%, and it's happened with me and coach. I call him coach. Um,
yes,
when it's so like you're working out so hard and you realize it and you just can't help but break down. And I'm not
yeah,
one, I hate crying, and I'm not one
yes,
to um, I'll give you the biggest, and I will love you like with all my heart, but crying is not one of my strong points. I and that's and I'm learning that it's okay. I'm learning that
yes.
it's okay to do that, to be vulnerable. But yes, like exactly what you said, when you have those moments, like graduation, that
Mhm.
day of graduation, um, I was fine until the graduation party, and
Yes,
I just it the release because you work so hard, and it's finally you reach that mountain point and you reach the top, and you can finally just let go. And
yes,
sometimes those workouts are the only time you can let go for the day. Um, I used to think like, oh my gosh, I have to work out. I hate sweating. Like I don't want
yeah,
like anything. Like oh my gosh, but now it's therapy. It's therapy.
yes,
It's me letting release the stresses of the day. It's me um, not only holding myself accountable, but it's me appreciating um, the things my body can do now, where before I couldn't do, like bending over and tying my shoe without having a breath, or like crossing my legs sitting down. Like these moments of now that my body's changing, and it's little things that I didn't appreciate before. Um,
Right.
those
Well,
things are just coming back.
well, when you say that we don't appreciate them before, it's like when we do without for so long, we make adjustments, we
Mhm.
compensate,
Right,
and we kind of make it comfortable or make it
right,
okay to be
right.
a certain way,
You push
and
it aside,
that
like, "Oh, it's okay."
right, that's where we start blurring our boundaries for
Right.
our health and our wellness, and that could be
Yeah.
emotional, that could be physical, that could
Mhm.
be all sorts of things that are we're just saying it's okay. For
Right.
example, why is it that we feel emotional at graduation? We've worked so hard to get there, and we're like you said, we kind of have to put a narrow focus in order to get certain tasks done, and
Right. Mhm.
in that we kind of build different kinds of barriers and boundaries. And I
Exactly.
want to connect this to our social distancing. What kinds of things are we doing in our day-to-day lives that are taking away from our health and happiness? So I'm thinking, a lot of us, we don't realize how much we may say, oh, I'm an introvert. I'm an
Mhm.
introvert. I am. I really am.
Mhm.
And uh, I would prefer a book and a
Mhm.
glass of juice anytime,
Uh-huh.
all day,
Mhm.
every day.
Okay,
Um,
yes.
but we miss that connection. We miss that even seeing the whole face. I see somebody with
Right.
a mask, and I can't get the full picture of their expression. If their smile doesn't reach their
Right.
eyes, I want to
You
know
can't read them.
why.
Right.
Yes,
Mhm.
I want that connection. So
Yes.
I guess we're
And
making these.
that's the challenge.
It is.
Yes,
And
especially teaching. It is a challenge, and now at my school we have we're doing both online, we're doing virtual and in person. So that's a double challenge in itself: teaching
oh,
students online and teaching students in person, which teaching our kids online, we get to see their whole face, we get to see their expression. And our friends that are in person, they have to wear their mask
yes.
most of the time. We have our mask break where we can see them, but it's not the same. Yeah, it's
Right.
not the same. um, so one thing that I've learned to do now is to read their eye expressions,
Mhm.
um, because we have to. Okay, are they happy, or read their wrinkles on their forehead?
Right.
So
Did they understand?
do they understand? Um, our kids are so great that they're very like, Miss Lopez, I didn't understand, or that was amazing, or they'll give you a compliment, or they want to give you a hug, Miss Upper's air
Yes.
hug like this. But
Yes.
they miss that connection, and so it's hard for us teachers because it's been taught to us, like, you know we love our kids so much, we want to give them the best that we have, and sometimes us being split in front and right here, we're trying to give
Right.
attention to two sets of classes in a sense.
It
um,
is.
it can be overwhelming, and it can be emotionally draining for us because we want to do the best that we can for our kids. So we come home and we're like, what other things can we do to connect our students? um, and so we're always brainstorming, and it's continuous, it's nonstop. But we have to learn that, okay, at a certain point we have to turn off the computer, we have
Yes.
to not answer that email if it's 8 o'clock at night. We have to make sure we get our enough sleep so that we're ready for our kids for tomorrow. And
Mm.
it's been a challenge, especially since March, that we've been teaching. And technically, we really didn't have a summer because we're training to get ready for whatever was going to come up when the school year started. So it's been nonstop for us teachers, and we have to learn, and it's hard. I know it's hard for us to say, we have to take care of ourselves. We have
We
to make
do.
sure that we're mentally, resting our brains, and we're paying attention to those around us, because if, again, if we're not full, if we're emptying ourselves, because it's us doing it to ourselves, um,
Yes.
we can't, it cannot be, we cannot overflow with blessings, because we're always trying to keep going, and it comes to the point where you're going to burn yourself out.
Yes.
It's a guarantee. You keep going and going and going without taking that break for yourself, um, you're gonna burn yourself out. And we don't want we want to get to that point. So it took me saying, you know what, it's okay if I, um, don't do something for another person. It's okay if I say no, because I've always been a yes person, and I've always been a people pleaser. And it took me, like, especially since March, because I got really sick, and that's when I was like, you know what? If I'm not here, life is still gonna go on. People are
Right.
still gonna, who's gonna take my job? Like, it's one of those aha moments. If I don't take care of me, I can't take care of who I love, and
Right.
that's my family.
I like what
So.
you said about one, I heard a lot about, excuse me, a lot about boundaries and a lot about what it reminded me of. I have a peer, Rachel Baker. She's a fellow teacher. She teaches with Outschool and a few other places. And she's part of my accountability group. We all
Mhm.
have to have that
Yeah.
support system, and
Mhm.
they're positive, they're real and honest. And
Mhm.
she mentioned, and I'm sure she referenced this somewhere, but I associate the quotation with her, and I'm not going to get it right, but I'm going to say it anyway,
Go
is that
for it. Go
that
for it.
you know all the different balls that we are juggling,
Mhm.
you're right, we are in control of choosing which ones we want to
Mhm.
hold up. And if they're all glass balls and we can't juggle them all at the same time, something's going to
Right.
fall.
They're
maybe
gonna
we
fall.
have maybe we have plastic, maybe we have priorities on some of them. Some
Mhm.
days some of the balls are going to fall, and we need to be okay with letting them drop. We
Mhm.
need to know which ones are our priority. And I started
Mhm.
doing this recently, not in the same way that she does, but I also talked to Elizabeth Hunt about sleep and wellness and trying to find
Mhm.
that balance. And part of that was exactly what you said. You need to have boundaries with yourself. Tell
Mhm.
yourself, by this time, work is
Mhm.
done. By this
Yeah.
time, computer is done. By this
Mhm.
time, the phone is done.
Yeah.
And I've been fortunate. I have a really good environment at home where we know that by a certain time we kind of wrap things up downstairs, and we go upstairs to
Mhm.
our room, and then it's reading time, not
Yeah.
TV time. It's
Mhm.
reading time.
Yes.
It's music time. It's decompressing time. It's a
Yes.
way to get recentered. Now,
Yes.
when did you know that your change in your schedule was really making an impact on you? Was it right away or was it gradual?
It was a gradual thing. I had to change the habits, and it wasn't until I like I said, it was until I was really honest with myself. What things did I want to see in myself, and what did I want others to see in me? Um, but the main focus was me. How can I make myself, happy? I couldn't depend on other people to do that for me. I had to control what I could control. And
Right.
um, when March came around, and I was in bed for like a month after surgery, that was an eye opener. I had to change my habits. I had to change, um, everything that, really, literally everything that I thought, because I had this vision of, okay, I had to do things a certain way, and that wasn't the case. I learned that I didn't have to follow the norm. I had to
Right.
follow what was best for me. Um, and that could have been, for me, it was changing my work environment. So when that
Ah,
opportunity came, I took it. And it also meant closing doors on relationships that were not healthy for me.
yeah,
So it was a couple of things that I had to change. And it meant not only changing work environment, not only changing um, relationships, I had to have that crucial conversation with myself. Um,
courageous conversations, Monica.
yeah,
Yeah,
those crucial conversations, and it was hard because I always felt like I had to um, follow the rules. Like I
right.
couldn't break rules. I was one of those people like I gotta do things a certain way, and
Yeah,
I gotta follow things a certain way. Like you know how you're taught, it's tradition. It's you gotta do things. You gotta, graduate, get married, then have kids. And when all those things changed for me, it opened my eyes to what not what I wanted, but what God wanted for me. So,
right.
like I said, He put people in my path that helped me um, understand that what I thought I deserved was less than what I gave myself credit for.
Or allowed yourself to
Allowed
receive.
myself, yeah, I
Allowed
really
yourself to
allowed myself.
receive.
Mhm.
Oh, that's
I
powerful.
was
I love
I
it.
was blocking my own blessings because
Mm.
I felt like I didn't deserve them. Um,
Okay, here's a quick question for you.
okay.
How how quick are you able to receive a compliment now?
A lot more. Before I was like, "No way. No
Yes,
way."
that is one test that I realized that
Yeah.
once you are in a good space, if you
Mhm.
can receive a compliment like, yeah, I
Yeah.
did do good. I worked hard on it, and yes, I am proud of this. It's
Yes.
not something over the top or anything like that. It is a compliment, and it is basically validation for the work that you put into something, and
Yes.
it's people cheering you on and saying, "I see you.
I see
I
you.
really see
I
you."
know. And
Yeah.
I didn't believe that before. When people would say, "Oh, Monica, like you're so pretty or whatever. You have the biggest heart." I was like, okay, like, oh, thank you. And now I'm like, I do. I am. Because I have confidence in myself now, where before I didn't.
Yeah.
I always felt like I wasn't worthy of those things. Like I always felt like, okay, I'm a nice person. I want to do good, but that's not that me beautiful. No, that's not me. Um, but
All right. We're
it's
we're getting close to our 30-minute mark, and I wanted to kind of stick to this, but I wanted to ask you one last question, Monica.
sure.
And
Uh-huh.
I'm so excited. I know we're already like at our 30-minute, we could go on and on. But
You
this is
could.
my biggest thing. If there is somebody out there that is listening, what big thing, what message would you like for them to receive, for maybe they're struggling with, not feeling well, not connecting to their students, feeling like what they're doing isn't enough. I'm hearing that in so many places, what they're feeling isn't enough.
Mhm.
They're not being compensated for the work that they're
Mhm.
doing. They're not able to sneak out and walk or do just be connected to nature and outside.
Mhm.
What things, and I know we have a lot, that we could possibly say, but what helped you? What message did you tell yourself?
Three things.
Good.
One is it's okay to say no. That's one of the biggest lessons that I learned. It's okay to say no. To be gentle with yourself. Just it. You put so much pressure on yourself, and you don't give yourself credit for all the things you've already done. And last
Right.
one is if when you give yourself credit, when you know your worth, um, do that in return. Be an encourager to someone else. So surround yourself around people who will hold you accountable and who will support you. On those days where you don't feel like you're enough, you can reach out to that person and say, I'm not having a good day.
Mhm.
And they don't even have to say anything to you. You're just there. You vent and they listen. You need people like that in your life, just for them to say, it's tomorrow's going to be better.
Yes.
And having those people who are going to encourage you, hold you accountable, and you trying to set those boundaries for yourself. It takes time, and you just have to be gentle and patient.
I like it. Be gentle with yourself. It's okay to say no, and you realize, and this is what I got for you from the last one, is realize that you may be that person
Hmm.
for somebody else.
Somebody
It's
else.
that golden rule: be unto others as you would have unto you.
Yeah.
Do unto others. Be that person.
Be that person.
Yes,
Be the
I
light into.
love it. Be the light. Yes, be the light. I recently heard this, and I'm not really, I hear things everywhere, and it's probably in reference to a book, but also live without apologies. That
Hmm.
is realizing who
Yeah.
we are, set our goal or our mission, and do everything it is. I'm not saying be unkind or do Machiavelli type things or anything like that. But what I'm saying is, it's if you're doing something, this is where it's really important and critical to have
Mhm.
that support network, that fellowship within we're the ones that say, yes, you're part of my fellowship, you're part of my family, my inner workings, my support, because
Mhm.
that is as important as the skin on our bodies,
Right.
as important as our insides. This is what helps us get to the next steps and to be the light for others. So
Right.
I say, Monica, thank you so much for sharing your truth with
Thank
us, sharing your
you.
story, a lot of your great advice. And I hope to connect with you again later on where we find out more about your journey.
Yes,
And
part two.
yes, part two, part two. Yes.
Yes,
I love you
live with
always, Monica.
love you too. Live with purpose. What you say, live with purpose.
Live with purpose. All right, everyone out here, we say thank you for joining us. Vanessa, thank you for joining us and celebrating with us. We hope to see you all soon, and happy. Today's a special day, isn't it, Monica?
Yes, it's All Saints Day. Yes,
All
today.
Saints
And
Day.
tomorrow, Dia de los Muertos. So remember
Dia de
that.
los Muertos. Yes. So many blessings to everybody. Celebrate life by being the light for others and for yourself. It's okay.
Yes,
Bye, everyone. Thank you. See you next time.
yes.